going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's talk about some basketball. These are the games from last night. Sixers over the Bulls, 110-97. Philly's been playing really well this year, 23-10 on the year. Third best team in the Eastern Conference. They have really, ever since they traded Harden, to be honest, they've played a lot. They've played really, really well. Let's see how that works. Joel Embiid for triple-double, 31, 15, and 10. I think he robbed Jokic of the MVP last year. I've criticized him in the past for not being able to stay on the floor at times and his playoff struggles at times, but right now I think he is the MVP. He's dropping, going for 30 and 10, 35 and 10, 40 and 10, and like 31, 15 and 10. Last night, I was saying Andre Drummond actually playing very well for the Bulls. He had 2020 game. He had another big game similar to that. He had 11 and 17 last night. He's actually having a little bit of a career, I don't want to say career resurgence, but he still has some value as a number 2 center, a guy who can get you a couple buckets down low and is still a phenomenal rebounder. Grizzlies over the Spurs, 106-98, 26 and 10 assists for Ja, who dunked over Victor Wembanyama. Pelicans over the Nets, 112-85. McCollum had 16 points in that game. Thunder over the Celtics, 127-123, a big win for the Oklahoma City Thunder, a really young team who's currently rolling 23-9. They are second in the West, 36 points for Shy in this game. They beat the team that came in the best team in the NBA, I believe still is, in the Boston Celtics. So big win for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It'll be interesting to see if they do anything with trade deadline, because they're still really young. Obviously, this is still a process, but if they're clearly a top 3 team in the West, they have so many draft picks. Like, they easily have the assets to go out and make a move and add a piece that maybe could help them on a deep playoff run. Maybe go and get a veteran that can help you, on a deep playoff run. That would be huge. Because look at all the young talent. Shy is an MVP candidate, one of the best point guards in the league. You got Chet right now is probably the rookie of the year. I don't think it's even that close, to be honest. Jalen Williams is playing really well. That's a phenomenal team. Kudos to Mark Danielle, their head coach, who I know he looks like he's about 16 years old, but he's actually done a good job there. He's developed a lot of those guys, those young guys. A lot of them turn into stars. Warriors with the Magic, 121-115, 36 for Steph Curry. Steph getting older, but he's still got it. Still a phenomenal player. And the Hornets for an upset over the Kings, 111-104. Terry Rozier with 34 points in the win there. Talk some hockey scores. It's going to be a shorter show today. There isn't a ton going on right now. And by the way, yes, it is game picks day for the last week of the regular season, so that's obviously the major highlight of today's show. Hurricanes blew up the Rangers 6-1. Okay, I was at the Ranger game last night. All I'm saying is, so the Rangers first period, they looked terrible, really sloppy, turned the puck over. Not a lot of high-quality scoring chances. They gave up a couple power play goals. Then second period, they came out. They looked a little sharper. Chris Pryor scores early in the second period, made it 2-1. Then they showed an advertisement for that stupid and just overrated Avatar movie, which to me, like, these stupid Avatar movies, like the most overrated movies in the history of cinema. One of the actresses was at the game. They showed her. And after that, they fell apart and they're losing 6-1. I'm just saying, there might be a connection there. They're doing fine. They came in 25-9-1, best team in the league. They're starting to play better after a slow start. Got within a goal in the second period. And as soon as they showed something with Avatar, they fell apart. That's all I'm saying. But in real talk, Igor Shesterkin, he played terrible. He gave up 6 goals. He had a couple of bad plays to stick that led to a couple goals. He looked terrible, and he hasn't had that great of a year. He's got to play better. Thank God for Jonathan Quick, who's been one of the league's best goalies as their backup. Igor hasn't had a great year, but he's got to step it up a little bit. He got to a little bit of a slow start last year, and then he was like good but not great, and he was coming off a year where he was historically great, and then the year afterwards. Then not the year afterwards. The second half of the year, he was basically the guy he was before. So I'm hoping he's something like that. But he was a little better than this last year, so he's got to step up a little bit. Never thought I'd say that, but you gotta hold guys accountable. That's what needs to happen. Bruins over the Blue Jackets 4-1. You had Capitals over the Penguins 4-3. That was the ESPN Plus Hockey Night in America game. Predators shut out the Blackhawks 3-0. Commodore actually didn't even have a shot on goal. Blacks are 0-3 when he doesn't have a shot on goal. He's the only thing going to have going for them. Otherwise, they are an atrocious hockey team. Canadiens over the Stars 4-3. Flames over the Wild 3-1. Winnipeg beats the Lightning 4-2. Yeah, the Avalanche come from behind and beat the Islanders 5-4 in overtime. They're down a goal going into the third. They tie it in the third. Nathan McKinnon with a game winner in overtime, and Seon Varyamov was a goalie. He got the start. He got hurt in the game, and kind of similar to what the Rangers have. Rangers, of course, have a star young goalie in Shesterkin, and then a backup and Quick, who was once a league goalie, is now just kind of okay. Islanders, of course, have one of the best young goalies in hockey as well, and he has Sorokin. And then a backup in Varyamov was still okay. You know, was once an all-star. Now he's just like a solid backup. Sorokin hasn't played great this year, so if he's not their only goalie, he's gonna need to really, start playing up to, the back of his hockey card. Otherwise, Islanders could be in trouble. They were playing really, really well at one point. They were, I think, third in the East, but they've been struggling a bit, and they come over to lost to Colorado last night. Edmonton beats the Flyers 5-2. Panthers over the Coyotes 4-1. Canucks over the Senators 6-3. Maple Leafs straight out the Kings 3-0. And the Red Wings beat the Sharks 5-3. Good God, San Jose Sharks are bad at hockey. All right, let's do the college basketball top 25. I haven't talked too much college basketball so far, because it really only matters in March. Let's be honest. Maybe I'll do a little deeper, maybe in February when we start creeping up. We start seeing Joel Lenardi and Jay Billis talking bracketology and stuff. But till then, not too much to talk about. I do want to go over the top 25. I've done this maybe only once or twice, if that, so far since the college basketball season started. Right now, these are rankings that came out 2 days ago for this week. Purdue is number 1 in the country right now. They've won 6 in a row. They're 13-1. I do have confidence in them. Zach Eno, those guys, I could see them losing in the first round again. We'll see what happens. If Kansas at number 2, Kansas is my pick to win it all this year. We'll see what happens. Houston's number 3. Houston looks really good. They are 13-0 so far this year. At 4 is UConn, who look really good. UConn, this team kind of reminds me of last year. Like, overall, they're like a solid team. But not tonight. Maybe you would think would go on a deep run, but just they just have great chemistry. They just play good, solid basketball on both ends, and the defending champs might have a shot again this year. You have Tennessee at 5, Kentucky number 6, Marquette at 7. Cool to see Marquette be highly ranked. Hopefully they'll lose in the first round again. Shaka Smart's had a lot of trouble losing in, not getting out of the first round in the tournament. You have UNC at number 8, Illinois at 9, Arizona at 10. You have Oklahoma at 11. You have BYU at 12, Colorado State at 13. That's an interesting one. Duke at 14, Memphis at 15, Clemson at 16, Florida Atlantic at 17, Baylor is 18, James Madison is 19th. You have Texas at 20th, Wisconsin 21st, Ole Miss 22nd, Providence 23rd, Gonzaga hasn't had a great year. They're 9-4 this year. They're 24th. You have Ulva rounding up the rankings at 25th. And now, close up the show. Let's do game picks for the last week of the NFL regular season. Crazy thing, it's already here, but here we are. So, a lot of playoff implications on the line. So, Saturday game, Steelers-Ravens. So, Ravens already have the 1 seed locked up. Pittsburgh, they're 13-3. Pittsburgh's at 9-7. They need to win and get a little bit of help to get into the playoffs. So, I'm not sure of how many guys the Ravens are going to play. You see, some guys rest their starters. They've already clinched a 1 seed. This is also a huge rivalry. Maybe John Harbaugh and Ravens say, you know what? Let's go out there, let's play our guys, and let's knock the Steelers out of the playoffs. So maybe they will, maybe they won't. I haven't heard anything yet. We just heard a couple things about a couple of teams that are going to rest guys. I'll get to that shortly when I get to those games. But I haven't heard the Ravens resting anybody yet. I wouldn't be surprised, if I was them, probably would rest Lamar, especially considering Lamar the previous 2 years has gotten hurt. That much he's been able to stay healthy this year. He's probably the MVP right now. So maybe you don't want to get him. You don't want to get him hurt, obviously. So we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna take the Ravens. I know they might be resting some guys. Tyler Huntley is not very good. But so you're just starting Mason Rudolph, who's played well enough the last 2 games, especially in the game against Cincinnati around Christmas time 2 weeks ago. He was he was good enough last week. Definitely the right move to start him. I don't know what's going on with Kenny Pickett. Apparently he refused to back up Mason Rudolph. That's why Trubisky was the backup over him last week. They asked him about it in an interview. Not an interview, like he did a little, at the practice. The media was talking to him. He said the plan was, for him to, if he was cleared, he would start. And then basically, and then the team decided to go with Mason Rudolph. That's basically, he kind of danced around it. The dude just doesn't belong in this league. He's absolutely terrible. He's got 13 pass touchdowns in 2 years. He's absolutely horrible. He's not good, and now he's bitching out. He just doesn't belong in this league. So I am going to still take the Ravens. Mason Rudolph, he's had a nice little 2-game run, but I still never saw anything of him. I thought maybe there was a little something there when he came into Oklahoma State a couple years ago when he took over for the injured Ben Roethlisberger. All right, this is his time to shine. Didn't really show me anything, to be honest. So he's a fine backup. I don't really think he's that good of a starting quarterback at all. So I'm actually gonna take the Ravens. 8:15 Saturday night, Texans Colts. This is a huge game. So the winner of this game, if the Colts win, they will make the playoffs, and then if they win, the Jaguars lose, they'll win the division. Same thing if the Texans beat the Colts, they win, and the Jaguars lose, they'll win the division. We have 3 9-7 teams in the South. I believe if the loser of this game could still get in, if those need to get some help. This is a huge game with a lot of playoff implications. I'm actually going to take Indianapolis. I know a lot of people are taking Houston. They're favored by a point. This is going to be a really close game. Really tight. And I love CJ Stroud. He is obviously a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew. But I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor's got his leg under him last week. He played after, was a little rusty coming back. They're missing a couple of games. Colts got a very good defense. Colts are a little more experienced than Houston as well. Houston's still, at the end of the day, a really young team. So I will take Indianapolis in this game. And they will make the playoffs. Browns-Bengals. So Bengals were eliminated with lots of Kansas City last week. Cleveland, though, they're locked into the 5 seed. So they're gonna play whoever wins the South. So either Jacksonville, Houston, or Indianapolis in the first round on the road. Kevin Stefanski said they're going to rest some starters, including Joe Flacco is not going to play. Jeff Driscoll will start for the Cleveland Browns. Or I think I might be mixing up the teams he's on, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to play a lot of their guys. And for that reason, I am going to take the Cincinnati Bengals. This game really doesn't mean anything to Cleveland. They're already locked into the seed, For Jake Browning, maybe go out there and you blow out against a great defense, regardless of who's playing. Maybe someone gives them a call and makes them an offer to give him a shot to be a starter next year. Who knows? I'll take the Bengals. I don't expect the Browns to really play anybody. I don't expect to see Flacco out there or Amari Cooper or Myles Garrett. I don't expect to see any of these guys out there, especially considering how many injuries they've had this year. The last thing they need is a team that could be a sleeper Super Bowl, contender, honestly. They're probably a sleeper pick. Obviously, Baltimore's the big contender in the AFC. If you want to argue, Kansas City or somebody else, maybe Buffalo, if they can get it together. If you think Miami, someone gets great if you said Miami, but maybe someone thinks Miami. But, Cleveland might be, they could be dangerous. If Flacco is playing the way he's playing, he's been actually historically a great postseason quarterback, more Super Bowl MVP. But he's playing with that defense, look out. So don't get anybody hurt. They're going to rest pretty much everybody. So I'll take Cincinnati because Cleveland will probably be very undermanned. You have Vikings, Lions taking Detroit. The Lions are definitely going to be motivated after the whole debacle last week. That tough loss to Dallas. Minnesota, I don't know. So I assume it's Nick Mullins. I have no idea why I start Jaron Hall. I think that made no sense. The Vikings defense has played a tiny bit better, I guess. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, yeah, they've been a lot better." I was like, have you watched the games? They're not that much better. Brian Flores, everyone thinks he's doing a good job. Not really. He drops 8 into coverage all the time because he knows the team has no talent on that side of the ball. So I will take the Detroit Lions. They will finish 12-5. Wait, yeah, at least the 3 seed, if not the 2 seed. Jaguars, Titans. I'm taking Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to come back and play. The last couple of games have played a lot better. Obviously, they just destroyed the Carolina Panthers. I mean, Carolina is god-awful. But Lawrence should play in this game. Tennessee sucks. I'm the good chance it's probably Ryan Tannehill. Levis 2 weeks ago didn't play. Came back last week, then got hurt again, got cut off of a foot injury. So it's probably Ryan Tannehill, or whatever is left of Ryan Tannehill at this point. That team is definitely checked out. We got rumors that, Mike Vrabel's contract, expires after the season, and him and Ron Carfin aren't getting along, not seeing eye to eye. Their GM, Vrabel thinks Ron Carfin didn't really give him a fair shot this year, and he's kind of right. I mean, I team that coming off an 8-9 year last year, they bring in Ron Carfin as GM, and he lets go of basically their entire offensive line. He cuts a couple of stars on defense. Didn't really bring in anybody major outside of DeAndre Hopkins. And then just said, all right, have fun with Ryan Tannehill and second round rookie Will Levis. And no offensive line, an aging Derrick Henry, and the defense is still pretty good, but not great. Have fun. And also, division isn't that good, but going into the year, it was clear that they were not even close to the same level as the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, a lot going on in Tennessee. It's not good. I'm taking Jacksonville to win, and they will wrap up the AFC South. Jets Patriots. Okay. Obviously, this game means nothing. Jets are 6-10. Patriots are 4-12. Both teams suck. Patriots are going with Bailey Zappi, who last week threw 3 picks in his first 9 passes. He did over 209 yards and 3 picks last week. The Jets will be starting Trevor Siemian for a third straight game. Zach Wilson is once again not going to play with a concussion. Both teams absolutely suck. But it is an AFC East rivalry. The Patriots have beaten the Jets a lot the last time the Jets beat the Patriots was in 2015. That was, at this point, 9 years ago, because obviously now it's 2024. I think it's like something like 6. I think they've won like 16 straight times against the Jets. They have their number, to say the least. I want to pick the Jets. The Patriots are awful. Bailey Zappi's coming off that horrible game. They just got a great defense. They're going to maul Zappy. He's going to make mistakes. Their top back, Ramondre Stevenson, is out. This game is probably going to be really just not entertaining. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 10-6. You have Trevor Siemian behind a god-awful offensive line. A defense that's got to be frustrated at this point. And then that's not motivated considering who the head coach is over there, and Robert Saleh. I'm not a fan of him, as you all know. Then you have the Patriots with Bailey Zappi behind also a god-awful offensive line. No weapons. His only weapon, Ramondre Stevenson's not playing. He's on IR. So he has, 30-year-old Ezekiel Elliott as might be his best weapon. And they're really good defense, but they're also probably frustrated because of how bad that offense is. Franchise icon Bill Belichick might be coaching his last game for the team. It appears they're going to be parting ways after the season, at least his GM and probably his coach as well. But I just don't trust the Jets team. I'm taking the Patriots. It pains me to say that, but they just got a 4th string. They got a practice squad 4th string quarterback out there. He's got no protection. Patriots don't have a great pass rush. With Matt Judon now, Josh Uche isn't anything special really. So on paper, this screams like, oh, the Jets could. This is finally when they break the streak. No, I really don't see it. I just don't. This is gonna be one of those games where Their defense balls out, but just Simeon's so bad. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I do want to win this game. I don't care about the draft position. I don't think it'll matter that much. They made the 8th pick. I want to beat the Patriots, but I just don't see it happening. This would be the most Jets thing to do, to lose. I think that's what's going to happen. So I'm actually going to take the Patriots. Falcons Saints. So Falcons are already out, but Saints, if they win, Tampa loses, they will win the NFC South. I'm going to take the Saints. So this division is pitifully bad. One of the worst in the history of the league, if not the worst in the history of the league. The best team is maybe Tampa or New Orleans, who is really mediocre. They have 2 coaches who Robert Smith, I think he's a foregone conclusion. He's already fired. Dennis Allen, I heard a rumor that they were expected to bring him back. If they win this game, I predicted last week he was going to get fired after the season. If they win this game and they somehow end up sneaking into the playoffs, he probably will come back. I don't think he should by any means. I think he's a horrible head coach, but I think if they win this game, that might get him another year. Maybe, I would say get him some, maybe add some pieces, but I don't know how in the hell they're going to do that. So they're like $80 million over the cap. They're paying Derek Carr $37 million a year for the next 3 years. He's mediocre as it can get. So, but if they lose this game, I think he's gone. I don't see how you bring him back. I don't know how you could sell that to your franchise, to your fans. I don't know, to your players. I don't know. But I do think the Saints win. The Falcons, they're checked out. The coaching staff knows they're gone. I'm taking the Saints to squeak by in a game I don't really care about. And NFC South is meaningless. Bucks Panthers. Bucks win. They clinch the NFC South. And I think that's what they would do. I'm taking the Bucks. Beckham was overall had a pretty good year. I think he's been overrated a little bit this year. People are acting as if he's like this great quarterback all of a sudden. Bucks should throw him all his money at it. I pumped the brakes a little bit, but Carolina is really bad at football. They are the worst team in the football by far. I don't think it's that close. I mean, Washington's really bad. Arizona isn't very good. But to me, it's clear Carolina is the worst team in the NFL. And the Bears should thank them because they get the #1 pick. I'm taking Tampa. I'm taking Tampa. They will win the division on Sunday. 425 Bears-Packers. Oldest rivalry in football. If the Packers win, they make the playoffs. They'll be the last playoff spot in the NFC. If they lose, they will need some help to get in. Which means the Bears, although they're already out, have a chance to knock out the Packers. This kind of reminds me of the Lions-Packers game. It was the last game of the regular season last year. Sunday Night Football. Because after Seattle won earlier in the day, the Lions knew they were out of the playoffs. But the Packers, we all thought, the Packers are almost like gonna win. They're gonna get in. It was the whole thing. If the Packers win, they're in. If not, then like Seattle will get in or whoever it was, but then the Lions shocked the world, and the beating them, Aaron Rodgers threw a couple of picks, and then he gets to get traded. The Lions basically ran Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. This kind of screams out, Packers coming in, playing pretty well. They're, playing a division rival who they've historically always been better than. They've always owned. A game that they should win. No, and if they do, then they make the playoffs. If not, they're out. Well, in this case, probably out. But kind of has that vibe, the Bears. The Bears have been playing really well. Fields have been playing really well. But like Packers Lions, yes, the Packers have historically been great over the Lions, but first of all, the Lions are clearly starting to build something now. Obviously, Dan Campbell's obviously a great motivator. But also that's more just the Lions being dysfunctional. The Packers literally basically own the Bears. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers screamed it a couple of years ago, and then as soon as he leaves, the Bears like, oh, Now we can finally beat them, and then week 1, the Packers destroyed them. The Bears are a much better team than they were in week 1. I am going to take the Packers. That Bears defense is playing a lot better, but Jordan Love was also playing a lot better down the stretch. Aaron Jones maybe won't have one of his best games of the year last week. This offense is firing on all cylinders. I don't think we'll see Christian Watson in this game. He hasn't played in quite a few weeks. There's a lot of injuries this year, but Jane Reed's been playing really well. I think they're going to get pressure on Fields. I think Green Bay will win this game, and they will make the playoffs. Who'd have thought Green Bay would make the playoffs? Wow. Broncos, Raiders. This is another game I don't care about. Both teams are done. I'm going to take the Raiders. Broncos are obviously selling Russell Wilson. They're selling Jared Stidham. They got some guys out. Court and some of their top receiver isn't playing in this game. That defense is not that good. Aiden O'Connell also isn't that good, but I'm not sure if Josh Jacobs is going to play in this game. But I think the Broncos, I have a feeling Sean Payton ruffled a few feathers. He obviously ruffled a few feathers across the league. And I would not be surprised in that locker room if a few feathers got ruffled with the way he handled the Russell Wilson thing. The Raiders are definitely motivated. They want to go out and win this game to do everything they can to convince their owner Mark Davis to keep Antonio Pierce as the full-time head coach next year. So I think the Raiders will go out and they will do just that. So I'll take the Raiders. Eagles-Giants, a rivalry game. So Philly, yikes, they are collapsing. We got rumors that the locker room is just absolutely in shambles. It's clear that A.J. Brown not talking to the media last week was directed at the coaching staff. They got issues on the coaching staff. You got people not in the building concerned about Jalen Hurts as a leader. Obviously, they're collapsing down the stretch. They need to win because if not, Dallas is definitely going to be Washington this week, I'm sure, and they will lose. They will lose the division. Things are spiraling out of control. They beat the Giants 2 weeks ago, but only by 8 points. Also they lost to the lifeless Arizona Cardinals last week. But I think they get it done this week. They just beat the Giants 2 weeks ago. The Giants are pretty much checked out. Tyrod Taylor starting for them. They got no offensive line. I think the Eagles are going to get a lot of pressure on Taylor. They got a lot of pressure on him and DeVito 2 weeks ago. Giants have probably the worst offensive line in the NFL this year. Them the Jets probably. I know this Eagles defense is absolutely horrible. They're the second worst scoring defense in the NFL since week 12. Also, we have the second most yards per game. Probably have the worst secondary in the league in that period. I don't know what's going on. The defensive coordinator change from shoulder side to Matt Patricia has done absolutely nothing. Not a damn thing. Hasn't helped at all. I think Eagles are a mess, but the Giants are just so bad and gotta be checked out at this point. Dable has been frustrated throughout the year. Apparently there's tension between him and defensive coordinator Don Martindale. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Because because of Tyrod Taylor's ability to make some plays with his leg, I think he'll keep them in the game enough to the end. But I think the Eagles will pull away in the end. So I'll take Philly just squeak by. No, they are definitely frauds. They're not going to have a lot of fun in the playoffs. They'll win the first. They might win if they drop to the wild card. They would win the first round, but Dolphins might be better off losing this game than being the first wild card because they would destroy Tampa or New Orleans in the first round. Instead, you get like the Rams or something, then I think that almost hurts their chances. Okay, Seahawks and Cardinals. So Seattle. Right now on the outside looking in, they're going to need some help. They need basically a win and a Green Bay loss, and might even need the Saints to lose. Playing Arizona, who's obviously done. They're at 4-12, but beat the Eagles last week. I'm going to take Seattle in this game. Arizona is not very good. It's weird. They've had a weird year, Arizona. They're obviously terrible. They beat some good teams. They beat Dallas, and the Philadelphia Eagles were really good, but they lost to a bunch of other crappy teams. It's weird. So I'll take Seattle in this one. They got a lot of weapons. I don't think Arizona will be able to stop them. I'll take Seattle. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Kyra's been playing pretty well, so I'll take Seattle. And then, unfortunately, we have Chiefs-Chargers. So the Chiefs are going to rest a lot of guys. Patrick Mahomes is not going to play in this game. The Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed. So they're not going to play this game, meaning they'll play, looks like the Bills or they'll play, good chance they'll be playing, they might play Miami in the first round. Could be Buffalo, could be Pittsburgh or Houston or something. Who knows? But they're locked into the 3 seed, so they're not playing a lot of guys. I think this is where Jeff Frisco is starting. Honestly, I'm still taking the Chiefs. Chargers are so bad. I already fired their coach. They're checked out. Easton Stick is beyond pitiful. I'm not sure how many guys on the defense are going to play for the Chiefs. Probably not that many. Majority probably isn't going to play, especially considering he almost didn't play last week with an injury. I'm not sure if they'll play George Karlaftis, who might be their best pass rusher. Probably is. I think the Chiefs will still win, though. The Chargers are just so bad. The Chiefs, with most of their 2s in, probably are still better than the Chargers won, especially since the Chargers are on their backup quarterback, who's horrible. I think Max Duggan should be starting over Easton Stick, to be honest. Keenan Allen's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna play. Obviously Mike Williams has been on IR all year. I doubt Joshua Palmer is gonna play. If their best receiver might be Quentin Johnson, who's freaking terrible. And our defense is absolutely terrible, so I'm actually gonna take the Chiefs. 425 Rams 49ers. This one, Niners already pushed the 1 seed. I know Christian McCaffrey isn't going to play. He's got a calf injury. From what I've heard, it's minor. It seems like he would probably play if the game meant something. Since it doesn't, they're not going to risk it. So he's not going to play. I mean, you could probably play Sam Darnold with how good that offense is. Having your backup weapons in with Sam Darnold, you might be able to actually field a decent offense. So even if they rest some guys, I think I will take the 49ers in this game. The Rams already punched the playoffs. I believe seeding does still matter. They want to make sure they get the 6, not the 7. Because now you end up playing, probably, either way, they're going to play either Philly, Dallas, or Detroit in the first round. Depends what happens, but I'll take the Niners. I think they'll play enough guys to where they'll still be able to overcome the Rams. Cowboys Commanders, Dallas by a lot. Sam Howell's going to start for Washington, but he's been really struggling. They have no offensive line. Michael Parsons is going to maul him, going to eat him alive. And Dallas is going to pick apart the Washington defense. We saw them on Thanksgiving. There was a 42-10 or something. It was something awful. I could see it being something again. I'll think Dallas, if they win and Philly loses, they win the division. Might end up with the 2 seed in the NFC. End up playing like Green Bay in the first round or something like that. Or New Orleans or something. So Dallas by a lot. They're favored by 13. They probably clear that. And Sunday Night Football. Bills, Dolphins. Battle for the AFC East. If the Dolphins win, they win the AFC East, and they will be the 2 seed in the AFC. And the Bills could still get in, but if they lose, they'll probably get in as the 6 or the 7, but they could end up missing the playoffs. I think if Pittsburgh wins, if Jacksonville wins, and if Indy and Houston is not a tie. But if all that doesn't happen and they lose, they would still get in. But if the Bills win, the Bills would all of a sudden now win the division. They'd be the 2 seed, and Miami would drop to the 6 seed. I'm going to take Buffalo. They got hot. Last couple of games haven't been as convincing. They barely squeaked past the Chargers. And then they barely squeaked past New England last week. Josh Allen didn't play great. Miami, they're such a fraud. They got destroyed by the Ravens last week. I know the Ravens are the best team in the league, but still. 56-19 is embarrassing. I'm not sure if Jalen Wild is going to play. I'm not sure if Raheem Mostert's going to play. Bills destroyed them earlier in the year. They're playing even better than they were at that point. I'm taking the Bills. They'll win the division. They'll be the 2 seed, and Miami will drop to the 6 seed. And they're probably going to lose in the first round because of Miami the 6 seed. They'll play Kansas City in the first round, and the Chiefs are definitely going to win that game. All right, that is my show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.